Hello guys, today we're going to do a video on Gotham Knights using the RTX 3080. We're going to be starting it off with 1080p on the high settings. This is the high preset right here. Won't use ray tracing yet, but I'll enable it in a second. And yeah, 1080p, we're forced into using borderless again, like Uncharted. I'm taking a look on how this game runs on console, and it's a 30 FPS cap. I believe it's in 4K though. But it still does have dips into the 20s as well, so it's not a stable 30 either, which is kind of unfortunate. But at this point we are getting 120 FPS at high settings 1080p, which is quite good I guess, not too bad. I totally didn't see the fact that our GPU is getting bottlenecked. We're only at 70% usage on our GPU, even 60% right here. So I think at 1440p we should be able to hold 100 FPS at this point. And 4K, maybe 60? I keep forgetting that it's shift to jump. Using ray tracing now. Apply. Game's freezing. Ooh, look at those performance numbers. Getting 80 FPS now. Oof. Some stuttering as well. A lot of stuttering now. Whoa, this is running really badly now. Running really badly now. Mouse is also bugging out as well at this point. It's spinning around. But as you can see in the reflections on the ground, it does look way better. This is stuttering really badly now though. It's actually pretty unplayable. I don't know how long I'll keep this on, but...
Holy unethical research. Dr. Langstrom was hiding some serious skeletons.
We are also indoors as well. I guess we do have a lot of reflections here indoors, but
workstation.
Normally indoor scenes are way easier to run. Alright, it's running much better now. It took a little bit of time, but... Okay, no, it's still bugging that quite badly.
Lab. I found a hard drive that might help us figure out what Langstrom was up to.
Can't wait to hear what you got.
It's F to use the grapple. Alright, this is not looking the best with how it's running. We're getting 60 FPS on average, pretty much. It's like 70 FPS. And this is at 1080p high settings, not even at max settings. So ray tracing is very intensive, like you would expect.
That definitely wasn't me.
Maybe the 40 series will do a better job. Outdoors, can I skip this cutscene? But outdoors, we're getting... We're sitting in the low 60s, even 50s outdoors. Look at this guy chasing me. Okay, melee. I'm gonna go ahead and disable ray tracing though, because it's running like garbage. We do have DLSS available to us as well in this game, and FSR 2.0 as well, which will come in handy for the Steam Deck. But I'm gonna go ahead and increase the settings to the high. We're getting around 100 to 130 FPS at high settings. Now we're sitting at 110 FPS. To 100 FPS. This fighting feels decent. Alright.
As good a night as any for the freaks to ride.
Gangs have been tightening their grip on Gotham since Batman stopped showing up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the ray tracing is bugging out like the mouse movement and the game's overall performance.
I can't focus on torching this place with all that racket.
Alright.
They're causing one heck of a ruckus.
And indoors we're getting 80 FPS here. But basically the same numbers as what we had outdoors, which is surprising. Alright, let's continue though.
Shut up, fire alarm! Die!
You know what, this game does... I slid. This game definitely feels like a controller type game. The mouse movement kind of feels off regardless if you have ray tracing or not. It just feels even worse with ray tracing enabled. But yeah, with a controller it would feel way better, I feel like.
You're going straight to Blackgate.
Hey, look up here.
Look behind you, buddy. These feel quite nice to take down. Jump out the window. Still able to get 60 FPS, so basically didn't really lose too much performance compared to high settings. We do drop down into the high 50s occasionally as well. And this area isn't too intensive regardless, so I think in those heavier scenes we might even fall down to the low 50s.
So against higher education.
Huh? Enjoying the fireworks.
Yeah, the game just stutters way more with ray tracing enabled.
At this rate, the whole
It's pretty much unplayable, to be honest. I don't know if anyone wants to actually play like this. This game does have screen space reflections as well, which is basically like ray tracing. It's obviously not going to be as good as ray tracing, but it still does look very nice. You know what? In this fight scene, I can't really feel the stutters. It's feeling fine, to be honest. The mouse movement has been fixed, it seems like. Oop, couldn't dodge that. There we go. Use a health pack, but I'm full health. Let me just heal up that small amount of health that I need. There you go. Alright, now playing the game at 1440p. The GPU was sitting around 70% at 1080p high settings. Now we're sitting at 90% to 96%, which is pretty much maxed out. And we're still holding the same frame rate, obviously, since GPU was getting bottlenecked. And now it's running at its full potential. So still getting pretty... Oh. Shield break. So FPS numbers here aren't too bad, to be honest. Getting like 100 FPS. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it runs at 4K high settings with ray tracing. If we can hold above 30, like 40, 50 FPS, it would be really nice. We do have DLSS obviously as well, so which I'll be using that once we fall down below 60. But other than that, game's running quite well. Alright, now outdoors we're getting 80 FPS from 100 FPS, so a 20 FPS decrease, almost 25 FPS decrease, which makes sense since indoors is not as intensive. And then we drop down. Okay, 70 FPS is the lowest that I've seen it hit. This does not look good. I'm kind of trapped here. Why? Okay. Keep running. Oh, we got a bike now. Looking at the FPS, we just got a started there, but FPS is in the 80s, 290s. Not bad. So a 10 to 20 FPS decrease from indoors to outdoors. This looks like a great area to do ray tracing though. Look at the ground. It's so like reflective from the rain. Whoa, 65 FPS here. This is way more intensive. Whoa, 40 FPS. Okay, we're getting CPU bound, it seems like. GPU sitting at 60%, so most likely getting CPU bottlenecked. Which makes sense. That's probably why they capped it to 30 FPS on console. Normally in games they have options of playing at 60 FPS 1080p or 1440p, but with Gotham Knights you only have a 30 FPS option, so most likely a CPU issue on console as well. I was going to guess, but it's just a great area to test the game out. It's running quite poorly, I gotta say. Let's go and enable ray tracing. Make it even worse. Yeah, the mass movement is back, and this performance is... Oh, I just hit someone. Performance is awful now. 45 FPS on average, 50 FPS. Mouse movement is the worst part about it. It just stutters and like spins around out of nowhere. Look at that, just did 180 by itself. Pretty awful performance, to be honest. But once we leave the city again, we go back up to 80 to 90 FPS. Oh my god, this is so awful. Stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing this. It's gonna hurt my eyes. I'm gonna go ahead and disable ray tracing. But I'm gonna go ahead and increase the settings up to the highest setting. This is max settings at this point. No ray tracing. We're getting around like 80 to 90 FPS at high settings. It's so inconsistent too. It goes from like 60 to 40 FPS to 30 FPS. It's just, I wish it was a consistent frame rate. Okay, I'm gonna get off the bike. Maybe the bike is causing us to have heaps of FPS issues. And yeah, it seems about right. We're getting 80 FPS now off the bike. Let's go and run around. Okay, yeah, off the bike it does run a lot better. GPU is still sitting at 20% usage, which isn't perfect, but gives us hope for 4K max settings. It does run a lot better on foot, but still not perfect. We do get some FPS tips into the 60s, so I think a 60 FPS cap would be ideal for this game. But even then, you will fall into the 40s on a bike. Alright, now enabling ray tracing on foot. Able to get 60 FPS. We did drop down into the 50s as well. GPU's at 70% usage as well. The mouse movement is so buggy though. Alright, we're back in the game and we're playing the game at 4K now. I'm pretty sure we're in the highest settings still, so I gotta bring it back down to high settings. No ray tracing obviously, disabled. And playing the game at 4K. And we're getting almost 60 FPS, very close to it. We're gonna go ahead and drive back down into the city again. Alright. Let's see how it runs once we drive into the city.
Alright, on my way back to the
We're getting 60 FPS so far. Pretty good.
We're here. See you soon.
What's the boost button? Is there a boost? I can't see because it's actually covered up with a hint. Wheelie, shift out. Let's go wheelie time. Alright. Yeah, it's still getting really bad performance, dropping down to the 40s, the high 40s. It does feel a lot better compared to, what, 1440p and 1080p. And we were getting like 80 FPS before, 90 FPS, dropping down to the 40s, which felt atrocious. But now dropping down from the mid to high 50s into the high 40s, doesn't feel so bad. Current research is at 7 gigabytes, so we have some headroom there. I do have the 10 gigabyte variant of this card. But yeah, FPS numbers still not the best as you would expect. And now we're getting 48, getting 44 FPS. A lot more stuttering like always. This is just not good performance with ray tracing, to be honest. I keep saying it, but it is what it is, I guess. Oh my god, the game just froze. The game's freezing up. This is so bad. Playing about the high settings now. Basically, have a 60 FPS lock at 4K. I say that, but we do drop down into the 40s, the high 40s. It's not too bad, to be honest, at 4K, but still not ideal to have this many FPS issues. And for the last, I'm gonna go ahead and actually enable DLSS as well, because I forgot to do that. I was too busy thinking about the bottlenecks that were happening. I'm gonna be using DLSS quality settings, 4K max settings. It's a lot to say. I'm getting 70 FPS at 4K with quality DLSS, which is fantastic. Game looks just as good as native as well. Don't really see any blurriness to it or any issues that I can see at a first glance. Looks fantastic still, which is good to say. Let's get off the bike for a little bit as well. Just walk around for a little bit. Getting 78 FPS. It definitely runs better off the bike. The bike seems to be the most intensive. It's probably the fast movement that's causing the FPS drops, to be honest. So might be able to fix that, who knows. Alright. That's it for the video, guys. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. As always, if you like what you see, then I like and sub to channel address as well. See you next time.